And we are live. Hi, Paul. How are you? Oh, hi, Kate. How are you? Good to have you.
Hi, Lena. Thanks for the invitation.
Well, I'm so happy it finally happened. I have been waiting for this moment for 3 months. So I'm excited to have you finally here on the Builder stage. GM, Celo friends. And yeah, very, very excited for today. The topic is harder, Celo Hardforks in 2025. Paul, what was the hardest? Ice cream or Jello?
That's a hard question. I think ice cream probably wasn't the hardest one. I would choose between Jello and the L2 migration itself. If you want to call that a hard fork, probably the L2 migration wins.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was really like breaking my brain about making a fun joke about Jello and Hardfork, and I didn't manage, but like that's okay. So you already gave the great introduction. What we're going to talk about today is obviously all of the Hardforks, the L2 migration, all of the test nets, a lot of things because the cLabs team has been working. It feels like you did not take a break or even stop to breathe. So I hope you're all taking some time off. But yeah, I invited you here to talk through all of the upgrades and also what that means for the developer community. Since the L2 migration, obviously, we've seen a huge rise in applications deploying on Celo. And that was obvious, more interoperability, easier to build on. But we have so much more that came this year. So I'm very, very excited. A little overview about that is, and thank you, Kate, for providing this amazing info. But yeah, it was, I think, a very incredible year for Celo. We had the migration, we had 4 hard forks. Seller names launched. Yeah, cLabs did the most incredible job. But yeah, MiniPay also scaled to 11 million users. We added a lot of major DeFi players to our DeFi flywheel, and we hit 1 billion transactions, and we are the L2 with the highest daily active users, and also something with USDT transfer. So Celo is doing the work, and very, very proud to, yeah, and also huge shout out to the cLabs team for all of your hard work. And now let's dive right into it with the first. Celo is officially an L2. So Celo, I remember it was a huge day. There was a whole party in SF, and you all worked for you were online for 24 hours all in this stream.
Something like that.
It was tough. So yeah, let's get into it a little bit. What were the biggest updates that came with this migration?
Yeah, for me, thinking about it now, the funny thing is that it feels like it's years ago that we did this upgrade, but it's only 8 or 9 months ago that we actually did that. But yeah, it feels like we've been in L2 forever. Yeah, the work, and maybe that's because we started working on it literally years ago. So the migration, we prepared it for more than 1.5 years before that. So there was a massive amount of work that went into it. Basically, from the tech side, you can say that we basically rewrote the whole blockchain. So we had some old code. We threw away a lot of the historical code, stuff that was worthwhile while Celo was an L1, but didn't make sense anymore when we became an L2. And yeah, throwing away stuff always means more work because you have to re-implement it, but it also makes maintenance easier. It allows us to iterate faster. And I mean, we've seen this year with 4 hard forks that just wasn't possible with the code base from the L1 that we had. But now with the L2 code base, that's possible.
Amazing. But you say you threw away a lot of old code, but I know we still kept the main functionalities that make Celo so special, fee abstraction.
Augmented reality. that stuff basically we built that with a fresh mind on top of the OP stack. That helped improve stuff, and it also meant that we are now closer to Ethereum than ever. So I think for developers the important part is Celo, like the L1, had some changes to how the headers looked like, how the blocks looked like, and that always caused like subtle incompatibilities. But now with the L2 migration, this is all gone, and the standard tooling that Ethereum developers are used to from other L2s from Ethereum itself also work for Celo now, which is like a big improvement.
Yeah. Now that's I could see it live with like builders building on Celo and moving and just waiting for the moment, all going live with us. I think we went live with, Kate can also write that in the chat, but I think 40 partners or more, like a lot of partners were live with us. And also our downtime was like super small, right?
Yeah, I think that's something that me and the team are actually really proud of. I think when we started like working on the migration, nobody had ever done this kind of stuff. So we took the state that existed on the L1 and moved it over to the L2. When we first had a migration process that could do that, it took multiple hours to go through all the blocks and update them. And then we started working on that, looking what's slowest. And in the end, we went down to that part roughly needing 5 minutes. Then with some security overhead, we were down for 20 minutes, I think something like that. So it's been crazy that we were able to achieve that. And I think, it wasn't as disruptive for people as we initially thought it to be.
No. I would say it's like Celo delivered the blueprint for the L2 migration from an L1 and then did it so seamless and with bravado and elegant. And Kate also just said it was 110 partners. So there was like a huge, huge lift. Like they all were ready and excited. And
and the partners were amazing. I mean, that was like not just like, please update your software kind of like hard fork, but it meant like, hey, you need to get your node down. You need to prepare. You need to run software to prepare all of it. You need to get up in the middle of the night to not get MiniPay down in their like most active time during the day. So it was a big ask from us, but more than 110 people followed. So that was amazing to see.
Okay. So also shout out to all our partners. You did amazing. Cool. Anything else that you want to share about the L2 migration? I think if anybody is interested, you can always check our docs. We have still a specific section that you can check under infra partners where you find the specs and more details. But anything else, or should we dive into our first hard fork?
I think maybe the last thing that's interesting for the devs here in the stream is that during the hard fork, we also enabled a lot of like Ethereum hard forks that weren't enabled on Celo beforehand. I have a little list here. It's quite long. It's like the Berlin and London, Shanghai and Cancun hard forks. I'm not going to list all the EIPs that were enabled, but I think like transient storage might be something that is quite interesting for people developing in Solidity. But there's in the docs, there are nice sections that explain all of these changes quite in detail.
Amazing. I remember we could finally announce some opcodes for people to like finally be ready for them to use. Cool. And then that was in the first half year and we celebrated that a lot. And then we had during ECC or shortly after ECC, we had the Ismos hard fork, where we did the Pectra upgrade. That was around ECC. See, so long ago.
Exactly, I think it's also with all the testnet upgrades and mainnet upgrades always like mixed up. But so basically once we were out with the migration, there was so much stuff happening on the OP side and Ethereum side already that basically we couldn't rest, and we just started working on the next hard fork right away. And that was Isthmus. That was actually quite interesting, I think, for developers, because it brought like the account abstraction EIP 7702 for people that are into that kind of stuff. And yeah, that was a big step. I think for Celo itself, it's not so important because we already have fee abstraction, so people can already do the stuff that this kind of enables. But it's still good to be compatible with Ethereum and support like all the transaction types and so on. But I think that's kind of the headline feature for that hard fork. There were some BLS precompiles that were added, some cost function changes, but I think for developers that's not really not too.
Yeah. I remember the hype about the 7702, and then we were just waiting for it to go live on Celo because I think it's a huge upgrade, especially for developers, when a lot of the other EIPs are like, okay. Cool. And also with the migration to L2, or I'm not sure, what does it mean now for developers also if you withdraw to the Ethereum network? What are current times and I mean, now we have another hard fork. Maybe that's a question for the end.
We can also take it now. So I think, I mean, the main idea of becoming an L2 was twofold. I mean, or the big topic was becoming closer to Ethereum, right? And I think that has two parts. The first is tooling should work. Developers should feel at home. Stuff they usually do should just work on Celo, and that was mostly the L2 migration and updating our code base to a more modern stack. The other part is also about bridging tokens, interoperability with other L2s, with the Ethereum chain itself. And for that, the stuff that you just mentioned, like deposits and withdrawals, are super important. So deposits, for people who have tried it, it's like you send something from the L1 to the L2. That's usually quite fast for Celo because we want higher finality guarantees than other optimistic rollups. We wait a bit longer until we process a deposit. So we wait until the L1 block that's referenced from the L2 is finalized. So for us, it takes 15 minutes longer than other L2s, but it's still in the realm of 30 minutes for a deposit, so rather quickly. Deposits, as in every optimistic rollups, they take a long time. And we can talk about that later with the Celo hard fork again. But currently it's not 7 minutes, but 7 days. So you initiate the withdrawal on the L2, submit that, and then you have to wait 7 days in order for people to challenge possibly malicious sequencing.
I mean, excited. I mean, already you already mentioned something that is coming soon, the biggest and hardest hard fork of all of them. But and then we are coming. Wait, let me now is the time again for adding a little video because we love the videos. They are the best. I mean, the hard forks are great for all of the updates they bring, but the videos. Oh, also cLabs got a new look. And 1 second. We are not there yet. Let me go back. Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay, it does not work. I'm so sad. It's somebody eating ice cream. Anyways, for the people who never watched the video, it's somebody eating ice cream because we're talking about the ice cream hard fork now. And let me. So sad. That was huge. That was can you tell me more about the ice cream hard fork? I think that was probably the hard fork that I was the least keeping an eye on. So maybe I can get everybody a little bit more of an introduction.
Yeah, so I have to admit, I think I'm the biggest ice cream fan in whole cLabs and Celo ecosystem. So I love that hard fork and the naming of it. the hard fork itself, from a technical side, I think wasn't too exciting for people using the blockchain. It was more like a protocol enhancement. Because Celo focuses on low transaction fees, back in the days we decided to use EigenDA as a data availability layer. And yeah, the EigenDA team has been doing an amazing job in basically providing the protocol, but there were also some problems that in the architecture that they couldn't fix without like a big version upgrade. So once they had like version 1 of EigenDA working, we used it and it worked fine, but they worked on a much improved version with higher throughput, shorter validation times, and so on. And this is EigenDA V2, also called Blazar. And that basically means that from running the L2, like the batcher, the actor who actually writes the transaction data on the DA provider and to the L1, works a lot faster, and we don't have to do many tricks to keep it working properly. So that upgrade basically forced some infrastructure updates to make our DA more dependable and faster. But for developers or on the EVM side, nothing actually changed, and most people hopefully haven't heard about that hard fork because nothing should have changed for them.
Okay, thank you for the quick overview. I think there was like enough for people to get a little insight. Another question: how many ice cream did you have when you were in Argentina?
Not as many as I should have, but I think I tried all the recommendations I got in Buenos Aires.
At least once a day, one ice cream a day.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. Just checking. We had a first testnet that had nothing to do. That was just like more for the developers. That came next is the Eclair testnet. I did not find a good meme, so I was very sad. But I'm hungry. After this call, I will have to eat some sweets. I don't know how you do it, constantly working on all of these upgrades that have like all of these sweet names. But yeah, what was the Eclair testnet, and why did we need it?
Yeah, that starts the whole story, like where probably this call is gonna end, like with the Celo hard fork. So Celo is really focused on security. So we really believe that security is important, and there's a web site called L2 Beat, which basically rates a lot of Validiums and L2s on their security properties, and we obviously want to be the good guys there and have like high security rating from them. So one of the things that we could improve on is getting our whole fault-proof game into a better position. But we didn't believe that the interactive game from that Optimism developed was ideal because it's quite expensive and it's quite slow. So in the beginning we said, we don't use that extensively, but we're gonna look into CK fault-proof games directly. Now the thing for us was gonna be like a giant process, because it means we need to develop another implementation of the whole Celo specific stuff from for the EVM in Rust, because all of the proving is done in Rust. And we didn't have much experience with Rust, both on the development side, but also on the infrastructure side. So we said we want to test as early as possible and gain as much experience as possible. So our idea was to spin out this Eclair testnet as early as possible with limited features. It only had token duality as a Celo-specific feature, but it allowed us to basically show it to the people, get more experience, and learn a lot about things that helped us later to deliver Celo on time.
Okay.
That was a really long answer. Sorry for that.
No, I just wanted to say all of you now have added a new language to your CV. Yeah, it's like that was good. It's like you always want to learn on the job, no? So good. Not only an upgrade for Celo. Cool. And then right after you launched another test net, and that was huge, no?
Yeah, that was for different reasons, unfortunately. But yeah, we had a lot of test nets, Hardforks and test nets. That's like, yeah, we're going strong this year. Yeah, again, so every L2, people notice every L2. Do you have a nice video for that?
I have a nice, yeah, wait. It's just the meme that Marek posted about the Alpha-Holes and Baklava leaving our, like for everybody who has been building on Celo knows Alpha-Holes and Baklava, or like Alpha-Holes was the main testnet, and then we had to say goodbye. Some people are still not ready somehow. But yeah, okay, sorry. Let's go back to why was it necessary? Why did we decide to like have a new testnet and not update the old ones?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I think we didn't like that we had to get rid of them, because it meant like a lot of effort for partners and every developer to redeploy stuff and change all of their infrastructure. The problem is that every L2 relies on an L1, and for our testnet we chose Holeshki, which was deprecated, unfortunately. So there was not really an option. So you can't really change the L1 that an L2 runs on, because that would mean that all the deposits and all the withdrawals are gone, and you're kind of in an invalid state. That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, migrating isn't an option. So that means we basically have to spin like a new network up, and that network is Celo Sepolia, because yeah, the L1 is the Sepolia testnet that the Ethereum Foundation runs.
And what does it mean for us in the future? Like how many upgrades will we have for the testnet?
You mean upgrades, like new testnets?
Like, yeah, how often will we have to update that? Like for like to understand, because it was a huge lift and now it's depending on.
Yeah, so the Ethereum Foundation, who manages these testnets, they have a timeline, and according to that timeline, Sepolia is only going to live to 2026. But that timeline also hasn't been updated for a while. So I think there's a lot of pressure from L2s, and as the Ethereum community is like having more L2s, I think there's more pressure on the foundation to keep running them longer, because it's so much work for everyone. I mean, you can imagine like every L2 that has a testnet based on Sepolia, if Sepolia gets shut down, they need to redeploy. And I think there might be the option that the Ethereum Foundation says like, yeah, there's no point in spinning up a new network. Maybe we can keep this running for another year or two.
I also imagine all of the app developers who are like deployed multi-chain, and then they also have to do that, and like all of the L2s. That
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. I think we are pushing that to keep like Sepolia running longer. But yeah, it's a bit unclear at the moment.
Sounds like a good goal to have. Let's push for that. The last and the best. Oh, just a very quick. And then also Celo hit monthly revenue for Celo was up by 10x since January 2024. Just like as a highlight in the year, it's not. And then we are getting here. Best video of the year.
I was about to say I love that video.
Gets a trophy, 100%. Cool. So Celo hardfork, the hardest hardfork of the year.
The hardest hardfork. Yeah, that's an exciting one. We already talked about it a lot, like during the year. So we basically started working on this in spring already. and it's quite complicated, but it's also like a big step forward in security. So withdrawals are a lot safer now. We have like a set of challengers. It's basically people or entities that monitor what our sequencer and proposer are doing, so people can be sure that we can't cheat. And on these like L2 beat ratings, which I talked about, like a security, like a website that rates the security of rollups, we should also get rated a lot better. They're currently in the process of reviewing this update, so it's going to take some time until the update is live on the website. But we expect that we get a much better rating after they've been after they have done that.
Okay, very exciting. Yeah. I remember even like when Celo became an L2, people were like, yeah, but it's not safe for the users, or like so secure, like just having the optimistic roll up. So I was very happy when I heard the news, and now it's implemented. And it was, I know it was really tough. Like how was it for the team, or what were some issues? Or if you want to share.
So the big thing, which I already like shortly mentioned, is that we chose to cooperate with the Succinct team to do that. So we're using like a technology that's called OP Succinct Lite, which basically doesn't validate every block in the Celo blockchain, but only validates blocks or proves that blocks are correct when there's like a challenge on chain. So that's like validating every block is already possible, but it would make it too expensive for Celo. So we chose the other way, which gives the same kind of security guarantees, but for a lot less money or lot less spending, which helps us to keep our transaction fees low. The problem is that Succinct Lite is built in Rust, and our stack was written in Go. So you figure we had to rewrite all of the Celo-specific stuff like token abstract, fee abstraction, and token duality again in Rust. So we learned a lot of Rust. We learned a lot about like the whole Rust ecosystem, Ref clients, and so on. And that was an interesting one. It was definitely hard work, but also basically writing a second implementation led us to think about a lot of edge cases. So we found some problems that we weren't even aware of before because we just had one implementation, but suddenly by having a second one, we found like, oh, there's like a little difference. We have to look into where this is coming from. And I think it made our specification and our implementation even better than before.
Amazing. Congratulations on pulling this off. Like for Hardforks, that's huge. And now it just happened last week, and it was a huge success. So to close this off, how many Hardforks can we expect in the years? There will be 5.
I wonder if people want more or less. Like I'm not sure. I think from the dev side, 4 is kind of a sweet spot. Like it's good to have updates regularly and like bring new features up to people like quickly. But it's also a lot of work and a lot of overhead to do these hard forks because it involves a lot of testing and updating testnets and so on. So I think like one every couple of months is kind of a good pace that keeps everyone happy. So we have to see if we can keep it up. But I think 4 is a good goal for 2026.
Very ambitious. That just like keep up the pace. No rest. And the next hard fork is already planned, or
not specifically, but we already know what we're gonna work on. And when I say that, I mean we're super interested in community feedback. So if people have things that they want to get solved, EIPs that they're super interested in, or stuff that's just like hard or bothersome for them, like we like to hear that. What we're currently looking into is like the Jovian hard fork. That's more like a protocol related update that's coming from like the Optimism stack again. So there's not a lot of user visible changes or developer visible changes, but it's mostly like cleaning up some code. And I think the headline feature for Celo is that the minimum gas price is going to be configurable. So nothing that people need to care about. It's more for us as a platform. It makes some stuff easier that was quite difficult before.
Okay.
And then for developers, probably more interesting is like the Fusaka on the L2 upgrade, which is we're probably going to look at after the Jovian hard fork. And that will basically, include some interesting stuff. So the headline feature for Fusaka was peer DAS. So that's nothing that's interesting for Celo. But there's a lot of security improvements for the protocol, like a lot of more block size limits, transaction limits, updates for gas costs for opcodes and so on. So stuff that basically allows us to scale Celo more because it kind of manages the worst case or like attacks of people to the chain that limit currently how much we can, how big we can make blocks. But there's also some developer-focused stuff. So there's a new opcode for counting leading zeros that can optimize some smart contracts. There's some new cryptography support, which will make stuff like keys that are derived in phones a lot more usable on the blockchain, which is amazing. And some config stuff for people doing more like interactions with the blockchain itself.
Okay, so user improvement, smart contract improvement.
Yeah, that one is like a bit for everyone. That's going to be for the community.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Paul. I think this was super, helpful for all developers to understand what happened, what's going to happen in the next year. And anything else that you wanted to share? If you have any requests, you can go into the Celo forum and just post it there. If you have any needs, as Paul already mentioned, if you want to see a specific EIPs, just post that in the forum and we are happy to review and see if that is a fit. But anything else?
No, I think I can only say thanks to the community. I mean, we've seen a lot of adoption from Celo. A lot of big projects have gone live on Celo this year. We see a lot of usage on MiniPay. So it's amazing. MiniPay apps are growing hugely. So that's great to see. I mean, that's what motivates me and the team to work that hard. From my side also big thank you for the team. I mean, they pushed hard, both on the cLabs and the Celo Foundation side, for an amazing year. And thanks for inviting me here.
Thank you so much. Thanks to the whole Celo team. I agree with you. It's been incredible to see the growth of the ecosystem, of the builder ecosystem, of the transaction, of chain revenue, everything. It's looking amazing, and it's nice to go into the end of the year like that and to feel like we worked really hard and we achieved a lot, and we're very excited for the next year. As you mentioned, mini apps. If you're building a mini app and you don't build yet on Celo, please reach out. If you want to learn more about cLabs and follow all of the updates, make sure to follow cLabs on Twitter, and make sure to reach out to us here and Celo devs if you have mini apps that you just post them and make us test them. Paul does not have a Twitter account, so he does not want to test your mini apps. But I will send him some. Another shout out is there's a contest right now running where you can play mini app games on Farcaster, and they are really fun, and they're on Celo. And you can vote until 6 p.m. GM for 2 more hours and play them and choose your favorite app. And it's the semifinals. Okay, thank you so much, Paul. Everybody, if I don't talk to you anymore, have a lovely holidays. And thank you so much for joining today, Paul.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.